Namaskar. Welcome to my channel Super KVNs powered by Super Teachers. Today we are going to discuss about one of the prominent project of Ministry of Education, that is NIPUN Bharat. The minister underlined that the National Education Policy 2020 has laid down the attending foundational literacy and numeracy for all children must become an immediate national mission, and that mission is all about NIPUN Bharat, National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. And the motto behind this निपुण भारत is निपुण भारत का सपना सब बच्चे समझे भाषा और गणित. Means the target of Nipun Bharat is to make the students understand the mathematics and language at their own working place. So we will have a detailed outlook of it. The highest priority of school education will be universal acquisition of foundational learning skills by grade 3rd. Children who fall behind, they get left behind. So grade 3 is the inflection point by which children are expected to learn to read so that they can read to learn after that. And the three layers you can see here, one is higher learning, second is better learning outcomes, and third one is all about foundational skills. Though these three skills to be focused in Nipun Bharat, the education system aims to achieve foundational literacy and numeracy by 26-27, where the grade 3 children can read with comprehension, write, basic mathematical operations they can learn the basic life skills. So before going to start this presentation, let me tell you what is foundational literacy and numeracy, FLN. NEP to 2020 augmenting students learning outcomes through FLN. They are recognizing the importance of early learning. The National Education Policy 2020 is giving the highest priority must be to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy in primary schools beyond 2025. The rest of the policy will be largely irrelevant for such a large portion of our students if this most basic learning, that are reading, writing, arithmetic at the foundational level, is not first achieved. So the missions has three target. First one is launching a national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy, that is FLN, making FLN the highest priority for the country and achieving the universal FLN in primary school by 2026-27. So this is the target. Now we will move to the foundational language and literacy. The pre-existing knowledge of language helps in building literacy skills in languages. The key components in foundational languages and literacy are oral language development, which includes the improved listening comprehensions, which extended the conversation skills, and the experience languages are more important for developing skills of reading and writing. Next one is all about decoding, which involves deciphering written words based on the understanding the relationship between the symbols and their sounds. Next one, it is all about reading fluency, which refers to the ability to read text with accuracy, speed, automatically, expression, that is prosody, and comprehension that allow children to make meaning from the text. Many children recognize the akshara but read them laboriously one by one. So it is all about the akshar, that is alphabetical. Now the reading comprehension part, which involves the constructing meaning from a text and thinking critically about it. This domain covers the competencies of understanding text and retrieving information from them, as well as interpreting the texts. And the final one, it's all about writing, which includes the competencies of writing, akshars and words, as well as writing for expressions. Now we will talk about the foundational numeracy, which means the ability to reason and to apply simple numerical concepts in daily life. Problem solving. The major aspects and the early components of mathematics are pre-number concept, which include counting and understanding the number systems, then numbers and operation on numbers, learn conventions needed for the mastery of mathematical techniques such as the use of a base 10 system to represent numbers. Next one is all about shapes and spatial understandings, perform simple computation in his own way of to three-digit numbers and apply these to their day-to-day life activities in different contexts. Next one is all about measurement, which understands the use of standard algorithms to perform operations of additions, subtractions, multiplications, and division on numbers up to three digits. And finally, the data handling, which involves identifying and extending the simple patterns starting from repeating shapes to patterns in numbers, interpret simple data or information in his her daily life activities. Now we will move to the national mission of NIPUN Bharat visions. The vision of the mission is to create an enabling environment to ensure universal acquisition of foundational literacy and numeracy so that by 2026-27 every child achieves the desired learning competencies in reading, writing and numeracy at the end of grade 3rd and not later than grade 5. Now we will talk about the national mission. What are the objectives of these missions? The program will be implemented in the mission mode with the use of strengthening of the existing. The Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Education will be implementing agency which will be headed by mission director. So here are you can see the main 8 points, main 8 objectives are there. The first one, it's all about to ensure an inclusive classroom environment by incorporating play, discovery and activity-based pedagogies, linking it to the daily life situation of the children and formal inclusion of children's home language. Second one, to enable children to become motivated, independent, and engaged readers and writers with the comprehensive processing, sustainable reading and writing skills. Third one, to make children understand the reasoning in the domains of numbers, measurement, and shapes and enable them to become independent in problem solving by the way numeracy and spatial understanding skills. To ensure the availability of effective usage of high quality and culturally responsive teaching learning materials in children's familiar or home or mother languages. To focus on continuous capacity building of teachers, head teachers, academic resource persons, and education administrators. Then to actively engage with all stakeholders, i.e. teachers, parents, students, and community policymakers for building a strong foundation of lifelong learning, to ensure assessment as of and for learning through portfolios, groups, and collaborative work, project work, quizzes, role plays, games, oral presentation, and short test. And finally, to ensure the tracking of learning levels of all students. So these are the 8 missions of national missions. Now, what are the academic approaches behind this? The learning outcomes of foundational learning have been divided into three development goals. And the learning outcomes that are divided in three development goals are one is health and well-being, that is HW. Second goal it is EC, effective communication. And third one is all about IL, that is involved learners. So the competency of each goal have also been identified. Holistic development of a child, which involves that health and well-being, you can see here, effective communications and involved learners. The development goals have been further divided into 6 levels of corresponding to the 3 year of early childhood care education followed by 3 years of schooling. Each learning outcomes has been given a number or code for easy identification and referencing. It is important to understand that these numbers are not hierarchical, but these experiences can be provided stimulously in an integrated way. And the holistic development of a child, which includes first goal 1, children maintain good health and well-being, that is HW. Goal 2, that is children become effective communicators. And third one, children become evolved learners and connect with their own environment. And under goal 1, the key competencies are learning outcomes, one or more learning outcomes for every competency. For goal 2, the key competency are learning outcomes, one or more learning outcomes for every competency. And the key competency for the goal 3 is learning outcomes, one or more learning outcomes for every competency we have to decide. Now we will come about the Lakshya, the learning goals of the mission. The national mission will declare the overall national targets in achieving learning outcomes, including year-wise outcomes to be achieved by the year 2026-27 by each state or UT. The overall literacy and numeracy targets to achieve the objectives of the missions are set in the form of Lakshya targets for foundational literacy and numeracy systems starting from the Bal Vatika. So what are the goals, learning goals? At the group of Bal Vatika, recognizing the letter and corresponding sounds, read simple words comprising of at least 2 to 3 alphabets, recognizes and reads numerals up to 10, arrange the number, object, shapes, occurrence of events in a sequence. And in grade 1, read small sentence consisting of at least 4 to 5 words in an age, appropriate unknown text, read and write numbers up to 99, perform simple addition and subtraction. In grade 2, read with meaning 45 to 60 words per minute. They should read and write numbers up to 999 and subtract numbers up to 99. In grade 3, it is all about read with meanings at least 60 words per minute, read and write numbers up to 9999 and solve simple multiplications problems. So these are the goals, learning goals of the missions. Now we will talk about the learning assessment. That is, assessment is vital to track children's progress. It is all about tracking in a continuous and comprehensive manner using the assessment. It aims at early identification of learning gaps at each foundational stage, that is FYL1, FYL2, FYL3, in this way up to FYL6, including children with special needs, so that there can be possibilities of early interventions through referral to specialists. A holistic and purposive assessment is vital to track children's progress by using different techniques to help the stakeholders. First one, identify the child's strength, needs, interest, and preference. Potentiate child performance and scaffold it through interventions. Collaborate to solve issue and area of concern. Contribute to early identification of learning gaps and learning difficulties. So assessment during the foundational learning can be broadly categorized into two major areas. First one, it's all about school-based assessment, that is SBA, at the foundational stage should be stress-free and largely through qualitative observation based on performance of the child in a multitude of experience and activities. And the next one, it is large-scale standardized assessment. Data at the state, national or international level focuses on the system and describes the educational health of the nation, state or district. So it may be carried out by the outer agency. Now we will talk about the pedagogy of creating for inclusive classrooms. You can see different activities can be taken out for inclusive classrooms, that are contextualizations materials keeping in view the linguistic and social diversity of each state, emphasize on child's center pedagogy, emphasis on interactive classroom including authentic, appropriate and accessible toys and materials, toy-based pedagogy, activity-based learning, experiential learning, play-based, art integrated, sport integrated or storytelling based. So all these are the pedagogy for creating an inclusive classrooms. Even you can add the ICT integrated learning also. Now we will talk about the empowering teachers part. In view of the challenges of in-service teachers training Across the different stages of school education, NCERT has designed an innovative integrated program of teachers training, now popularly known as NISTHA, that is National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. Under NISTHA, first you can see the specific teachers and training modules focusing on the FLN will be designed through NISTHA. Then FLN NISTA modules will be specifically contains a module on bridging the language barriers and teaching in mother language, that is regional language or home language. And third one is FLN NISTA will contain a specific module on peer learning and how parents can be utilized as volunteers in the schools. Now we will talk about the expanding the scope and use of DIKSHA for FLN. Using DIKSHA to enable students learning range from the explanation video, interactive assessment items, worksheets, reading materials, etc. will be available. Literacy content for read along the digital read along materials, reading comprehensions, grammar question bank, children's literature, that is local lore or folk tales, and under numeracy content you can see explanation video type, short video clarifying the misconceptions, and real world examples video for mathematics and assessment banks. So all this can be expanding scope of the Diksha. Using Diksha to enable teacher professional development, various teachers training resources including the training modules, the supportive materials for training sessions like handouts, video, reading resources, teaching learning materials, instructional strategies, teacher's handbook, activity booklet, etc. will also be made available. Now we'll talk about the school preparation module. 85% of a child brain develop before the age of 6. So this is the fact. That's why NEP 2020 has recommended the development of 3-month play-based school preparation module for all grade 1 students by the NCERT as an interim measures to ensure that all children are go school ready till the universal provisioning of quality preschool education is achieved. A school preparation module SPM is especially essentially around 12 weeks of developmentally appropriate education at the beginning of class 1 designed to bolster a child's pre-literacy, pre-numeracy, cognitive and social skills. So it is expected that this is the module would consist of the activities and workbook around the learning of alphabets, sound, words, colors, shapes and numbers and involving collaboration with peers and parents. Accordingly, the NCERT has developed 3-month play-based school preparation module that can be adapted by the states or used as per their need. What are the administrative approaches? National Mission of Implementing Mechanisms. A 5-tier implementation mechanism for the mission will be set up at the national, state, district, block, school level. You can see here 5 level up there. First one is school management committee or community participations. Next it's block cluster or level missions. Then district mission, then state mission, then national mission. So this 5-tier implementation mechanism will be there for the NIPUN Bharat. What are the role of various stakeholders or institutions in these missions? You can see the role of states and UTs. The states and UTs have a critical role to play to achieve the goal of foundational literacy and numeracy by 25-26. In mission mode, the following activities would need to be ensured. First, creating multi-year action plans to achieve their respective appellant targets. Contextualize the national mission by preparing state-specific stage-wise action plan based on gaps identified in NAS. Ensure the adequate teachers in school at each grade from pre-primary to grade 3 and the extensive capacity building of teachers for implementing FLN in mission modes. The mapping the database of each child enrolled in foundational grades. Identify a pool of mentors to render academic supports to teachers and ensuring delivery of textbooks and uniforms to students before the start of the academic sessions. School and public libraries will be made integral part of teaching learning process. And finally, the training of SMC members awareness drives for parents and community to make them understand the desired level of learning outcomes. Now we will discuss about it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. A successful mission to improve the foundational learning of children in our country cannot be emphasized with an active role played by the several institutions, teachers, parents, community, and local bodies. Each stakeholders play a valuable role in the mission. What are the community involvement? Organize various activities supported by teachers in Anganwadi Sevika and Sahika, school readiness meals, Gunotsav, Pravotsav for children and their mothers, reading quiz competitions, awards and recognitions, and the local body at Panchayat level, they will encourage their children and ensure community involvement, undertake the baseline analysis as prescribed by the state to identify struggling learners and status of the school or class-wise, ensuring 100% enrollment of all children in the panchayat in schools at appropriate levels, ensuring zero dropout and no out of school children, ensuring all children in foundational years achieve basic minimum proficiency and literacy and numeracy, and the connecting the volunteers parents to schools to help the school achieving the FLN goals. What are the monitoring and information technology framework for this FLN? The mission at the national level, state level, and the district level will monitor mission activities through IT-based solution, which shall includes field level child-wise monitoring. The monitoring framework proposed will essentially be of two types: annual monitoring survey and concurrent monitoring. Further, the priorities for FLN are stated in the goals, and this can be achieved by leveraging the existing building blocks such as DIKSHA and UDICE Plus, which may be enhanced by leveraging open source tools and solutions for registries and identifies while at the time following the principles and standards set down by the NDAR as per the following. NDAR institutional framework led by the Ministry of Education may identify the areas where standards, specification and policies need to be put in place in order to achieve the above mentioned policy or goals, and the framework and the architecture of the FLN data collections and measurement should enable automatic data collection and collections from the multiple sources and at different frequencies and levels without need for special collection drives, pooling of data from different systems, synchronizations, manual uploading, etc. So the impact of FLN missions, it is emphasizing on activity-based learning, a conductive learning environment to improve the quality educations. Since almost every child attends early, the reinforce on that stage will be benefit the social economic disadvantages group, thus ensuring access to the equitable and inclusive quality education. Assessment to be based on learning outcomes. It will enable children to keep them in class, thereby reducing the numbers of dropouts, improvement in the transition rate of the primary to upper primary, and intensive capacity building of teachers to make them empowered and provide greater autonomy for choosing the pedagogy. Children to achieve the target which have positive impacts on later life outcomes and employment. FLN will ensure the holistic development of the child by focusing on different domains of development: physical and motor development, social and emotional development, literacy and numeracy development, cognitive development, and life skills development. So that's all for today's discussion on Nipun Bharat. Hopes this mission will be a successful for Indian education history. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day.